The turn of the decade brought a lot of marital turmoil to the McKees. Mary filed for a divorce from her once hard-working, now hard-drinking husband. He alleged she turned the children against him, allowed him to eat only the scraps left on the table after the rest of the family finished their meals. Things escalated after the divorce was granted. James took every opportunity to terrify and torment them, eventually pulling a knife on his eldest son, threatening to exterminate the entire family regardless of the cost. The local papers jumped on the lurid story of father against son. The penknife became a larger knife, and the story of his threats evolved from killing to murder of his offspring. Besides liquor, the trouble seemed to be fueled by his puny portion of the $2,500 estate being divided. No one was physically hurt, but when his children defended their mother, testifying to his bad behavior, there was a wounding of pride, leading to another incident 3 days later. Throughout this all, he still had access privileges to his longtime residence. Around 2 a.m., he fell from a first-floor window, fracturing his shoulder blade and several ribs. The police took him into the station first and then to the hospital. Most likely, he was drunk. But with defenestration, there could have been an altercation or a bid for sympathy. Despite the disintegration of her parents' marriage, Clara's plans for wedded bliss is undaunted. She weds Julius Arguello. The wedding is a grand affair with her oldest sister Mary and her tenor husband singing selections from Verdi, accompanied by organ and violin. After a reception at her now single mother's home, the couple left for a Santa Rosa honeymoon. After moving south, daughter Clara is born, and happily ever after lasts almost 9 years. In court, Clara describes his failure to provide. When they married in 1890, the self-described capitalist had $50,000, but squandered the money. Clara is awarded custody, but now is put in a position to support herself and her child. Clara and Claire move back to the McKee homestead in the Mission to live. Her divorce announcement mentioned her fate in a recent mass dismissal of teachers. Her ongoing attempts to undo that injustice took her to court again, suing the Board of Education. She chased that reversal for 6 years until she was finally certified as a teacher. 3 years after their divorce, Julius and his new wife brazenly abduct 9-year-old Clara on her way to school, according to Clara. The papers are filled with the accounts of this domestic scandal. His accomplice wife scooped up her books while Julius subdued her, despite her protests. They hopped the Valencia streetcar heading downtown. Clara immediately swore out a warrant for his arrest, citing the struggle at the schoolyard, claiming her daughter has no love for him, and Julius snatched Clara to annoy and spite her. She feared they would take her daughter away on a boat to Guatemala. Reading the account in the morning papers, Arguello took young Clara into court to tell his side of the story. After his attempts to visit his daughter at the McKee's residence were refused, he saw her on the street in such a shabby dress and worn-out shoes, he merely offered to take her shopping for new clothing. Little Claire denied her abduction to the judge, or that she had been taken, seized, or carried away, but had gone willingly as she wanted to see her little half-brother. She seemed quite fond of her father. From the newspaper account, the divorced wife showed that she hated the present wife, who is a quiet, ladylike woman, and when Arguello said if his intention was abduction, he would have waited till a steamer was leaving for Central America, the divorced wife cried out, "Ha ha! He has shown his hand now," and burst into a hysterical fit of laughter. Naturally, the sensational Bay City episode made the San Jose Evening News, tying in Arguello's San Jose area roots. 4 infant deaths spread throughout the family's history. Eldest daughter Mary succumbs around the turn of the century, followed by her mother and brother. Remarkably, Father James survives another decade to age 80. Richard and Sadie's daughter dies at a young age, followed a year later by schoolteacher Ava. Nearly 20 years pass before 2 more siblings depart. The youngest brother lives another 15 years to the age of 71, and the longest living granddaughter lives till age 82, ending the familial bloodline in 1975. All are buried at Holy Cross, most in the family plot the father purchased in 1873 upon the death of his 3-month-old daughter Isabel. Though initially buried at Calgary Cemetery, 2 infants were reinterred at Holy Cross in 1940.